In the latest chapter of our attempts to have an ecological farm, the traditional way of making compost is having a huge machine that is constantly turning over the compost in order to allow the oxygen to get to every part of the compost and allow the bacteria to do their job with the energy of the oxygen. This system doesn't move. What does move is the oxygen. We're saying instead of flipping the compost, we're forcing the oxygen in, and that way we're utilizing a lot less mechanical energy. We're just using a blower that goes on and off approximately 15 minutes every hour. And that's it. And after 3 months, it produces perfectly good compost. We have what's called a sleeve of chicken manure, like a sleeve. We take the chicken manure from there and we mix it in with leaves and other things. We did this by hand. We build about a meter gova, and then you'll see the next step, the next chapter. We will cover it. We'll cover it. And after it's covered, we will have compressed air going through this pipe that has holes in it. As you can see, there's holes in the pipe. The compressed air will go through it every couple of minutes throughout an hour, maybe 15 minutes throughout every hour. And the compressed air with tremendous force will go through the pile. And that's what's needed for thermobacteria, they're aerobic bacteria. They utilize the oxygen as a source of energy to break down the carbon and everything that's inside this mixture of leaves and chicken manure. And ultimately, after 3 months, hopefully, if we have the right combination, the right amount of moisture, etc., after 3 months, this will turn into compost that won't have any bacterias that are dangerous. It will be perfectly clean.
Dangerous for what? For the environment?
For the environment, right. And so this is a way of dealing with your on location way of dealing with your chicken manure in an ecological way, where you turn it into a compost which can be thrown on trees. And instead of having to transport this chicken manure far away to a location where they accept chicken manure, you can cut that cost and do it on your own property. One more little idea that we have here is, we'll see in the next chapter of this idea, that once it starts working, there'll be heat. The process of making compost, like if you take a bunch of grass cuttings and you put them together, it gets very hot. This will get very hot once it's closed, and the compressed air that goes through will run to here. So these are my anaerobic gas production system. The anaerobic bacteria live in non-oxygen environment, like of the stomach of a cow, for instance. They don't produce energy. They produce gas and a very rich nitrogen liquid fertilizer, but they need energy, they need heat to do it. So these bacteria produce gas methane, but they need the heat. These bacteria produce free heat. Mm-hmm. So we're going to use the excess heat energy to heat up from the aerobic bacteria, to heat up the anaerobic. Build a little tent around this, mm-hmm. so that the hot air will go into it, and it will heat up the anaerobic bacteria, so they'll think they're in the stomach of the cow, which is 39 degrees, and they'll start pumping out more gas.
How does the heat penetrate the nylon over here?
No, we're going to build like a tent.
Oh, so the whole thing's going to heat up.
So the tent will come. Also, the way this thing is constructed, it absorbs the heat of the sun. during the day.
So that helps as well.
But during the winter, when you don't have sunshine, or in the middle of the night, you'll have the heat. These bacteria, they are not, they know how to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without sunshine, without anything. They're the perfect workers, because we're catching God's bacteria that work for us and do good things for us if we just know how to utilize them.
Now, my question here, Alon, regarding the amount of compost you're making over here, how much, how many months of chicken manure is this? Chicken waste?
Basically, every year and a half, when I finish the chickens, I have to clear out my chicken coop. So this is like about, say, 20 cubic meters. And so I'll just do every 3 months 20 cubic meters or another 20 cubic meters until I use up most of the chicken manure that I put aside. Some of it I sent to an area where they accepted it, and this is a test that I'm doing together with a certain professor. Her name is Lior, Yael Lior, and she's giving me guidance how to do it.
How often do you have to clean the manure from the chickens?
Once at the end of every season, which is approximately 1.5 to 2 years.
Right, but you said every 3 months you take it out, so it's understood.
No, but I made a huge pile of it, and then from that huge pile that I took out, I make batches.
Oh,
this
I see.
Like a batch
I
system.
see.
Every 3 months, 20 cubic meters. Every 3 months, another 20.
And in a year and a half, you change the whole flock of.
Can. So I'm working on the previous batch, clearing it out until I get ready for the newest batch.
And how are you going to use your fresh compost when it's ready?
This fresh compost can be used on. There's a huge amount of grapevines in this area, and this is excellent compost for grapevines.
Oh, use it for your grapevines?
Not just for my grapevines, for other people's grapevines. And so you're turning something that's a problem into another cash flow.
Now, what are you growing at the level? Are you growing any vegetables now? Are you growing any other things that you can use as compost?
We're growing this vegetables. These are the vegetables we're growing. Broccoli and cauliflower and all sorts of things. But basically, I use the liquid fertilizer from the anaerobic system. This I have to check that it isn't too strong for the vegetables.
How are you going to check that?
We did layers of chicken manure and leaves, and chicken manure and leaves.
And how are you going to make sure? How do you check to make sure it's not too strong?
We send it to a laboratory and they check it. The professor that's helping me will tell me if it's okay or not okay. And the heat, this bacteria, these thermal bacteria can get up to 70 degrees Celsius.
Wow. Unbelievable.
So it kind of kills off everything and pasteurizes it, the pathogenic side. And then you're left with useful compost that is not harmful for the plants.
Okay, well, we can only bless you that you work well this project, and let us see when it's all done. Call me back and we'll do another clip, a follow-up.
Okay, when it's all done, you'll see it working, and that will be the final chapter.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
When they're both working together, we're going for it. We're catching the ecological wave.
Okay, this is great. Okay, thank you, Alon.